Milo, is that you?
There, I think I got it. Okay, so this is Springfield Reports Part 2.
All right. There you go.
How do I sound? We should do a mic check. Check.
Check. How do I sound?
Check. That's a good way to start a part.
Check one. Testing. 1 4 1 2 8 1 1.
You know what? I just realized. I just thought of this. I can't believe I thought of this already in 25 seconds, 30 seconds in. It's no fun doing a Springfield report unless you have Rapido trains.
Your fast track to model railroading fun.
Rapido trains, your fast track to model railroading fun.
Exactly. I can't believe I thought of that already.
Attaboy.
We've only had
practice paid off.
We've only had a sponsor for 14 months, and I'm still no good at it.
Yeah, well, they're traveling across the country this year.
Yeah, I know. We got to talk to him about that on that bus.
He's got his new bus. His new bus he's taking, isn't it?
Yeah, hasn't he already started?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, because today is March the 4th, and Monday, March the 4th. And I think I'm going to look at the Rapido website right now. We're now already.
I'm sure they'll have it right there.
We're already a minute into the podcast, and we're already to the most exciting part. Me typing on the.
There you go. But on the plus side, we mentioned our sponsor quite a few times.
Yeah, exactly. There it is. Now I like
the great Rapido bus tour.
Why did it go away so? Oh, it's over there. How do you get sliders to stop?
I don't know.
Me neither. Okay, I just want to look at this. I don't want it to slide. Oh, there it goes. Why does it have to?
Maybe you scroll down. It's got it not sliding.
I don't like sliders that slide. It makes no sense to me. I can't get them to stop. I want to just read it. Don't slide. There it's gone.
It was slider doesn't slide. Is it really a slider?
That's true. I want sliders that don't slide.
You want non-sliding sliders.
I want non-sliding sliders.
You want fixtures, not sliders.
I want fixtures, not sliders. So how do I? Okay, there. All right, I clicked on the slider.
There you go.
Okay, so March.
That was a tense few moments. Right
it
there,
was.
folks.
It was.
I'll tell you.
So it says, note, conceptual route subject to change without notice due to weather, traffic, road closures, cool things found en route, or anything else that can happen on a long trip.
That sounds like a Jason Tron adventure.
Yeah, it does. Starts in L.A. I'm not sure what day it starts. It just says
March 17th.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
And
St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. That's a good day to start. Get hammered before you even get out of Los Angeles. 3 sheets to the wind before you get out of Los Angeles. So it goes from Los Angeles to Phoenix to Belen. What's New Mexico, I guess. What's Belen, New Mexico?
Belen is that's the yard for the what's located there. Virtual Rail has a camera at the yard and the BNSF yard.
Why would they go there?
Because they're probably going to the Southwest Model Railroad Museum.
Oh, is there? Okay, there's a Southwest Model Railroad Museum.
Yep.
Are they shouldn't they be heading towards the guy in where's it, Cottonwood or Cotton? Someplace in there. Where's that place that everybody goes in Arizona?
Cornville.
And which is just up the road from some fancy vacation place that people.
Sedona. It's actually south of Sedona.
Sedona, is that where it is?
Yeah, it's in between Sedona and Cottonwood along I-17.
Sedona, Arizona is the fancy vacation place?
Yeah, fancy place, yeah.
And in Belen, New Mexico, they have a model railroad museum.
Yep.
And what's it called?
Southwest Model Railroad Museum.
Have you ever heard of it, Bruce?
No, but apparently they're going to be there about 4 p.m. on March 19th.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, yeah, look at that. Southwest Model. I can click on the link. Look at that.
Yeah.
Southwest.
That's cool, isn't it?
Yeah. See events for an awesome event coming up in March. Regular hours of operation will continue through. I never even heard of this.
No, I've never heard of them either.
Really?
No.
Well, then why don't we just quit the podcast?
No.
I think we should because
We offer another view of the model railroad world.
as opposed to what view?
Others' view.
I like the fact they're located behind the Doodlebug on 2nd Street in Bellum.
Yeah.
Go look at the museum.
I think we
photo.
should. I think we should quit the podcast myself.
Ah.
Well, this is
Then
something.
what else are we doing?
It's something else we never heard of. It's something else we've never ever heard of.
And that's part of our entertainment package and education. That we didn't know about it, and I'm sure a bunch of our viewers didn't know about it. Now we all know about it.
Yeah.
So you can see it at the. Okay, so S is in Sam, W is in William, M is in Mike, R is in Raymond, M is in Mike Museum. SWMRM Museum, which I'm assuming stands for Southwest Model Railroad Museum.
Mm.
There you go.
SWMRMmuseum.org. And you know why it's .org, don't you, Bruce?
Because they're totally organized, unlike us.
Exactly. Yeah, there you go. What would we be? Too bad there's not a dot.
We'd be a disorg.
Yeah. Yeah, .dis, which would stand for disorg.
Yeah. There you go.
Let's see. Events, donations. Are there? There's videos, live videos, model trains, or
I'm just
museum
looking for
photos. I'm going to look at there. What is there? Photos of the layout?
There's photos of their module, so I'm assuming they have a module layout.
A module layout. Where's the?
Yeah, shows under show photos.
Under show photos. Okay. Show photos. Okay. All right. The Southwest Model Railroad Museum 44 by 44 foot modular display in Bellum, New Mexico. Wow.
Wow.
So it's a gigantic
Fair size.
Yeah, so it's a modular. That's a cool thing for clubs to do, actually, I think.
It's a big layout.
It's a huge layout.
And I think they have. It looks like a double wide building, a motor home or mobile home, I guess you call it. Whatever, double wide. And that's their clubhouse.
Where do you see that picture?
That is on Progress in the Museum.
I don't see progress.
It's
under what tab?
Third one next. That's one next to the.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there it is. Progress in the museum. Oh, all right. Look at that. Well, you know what it looks like?
Wide.
It looks like they have a double wide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Me and Vera, we
or up here we call them school portables.
Yeah. Me and Vera, we got a double wide. Well, there it is. There it is moving.
Yeah.
Oh my God! There's the one picture with a guy trapped under it. All he sees is his feet.
Oh.
So maybe it got picked up in a tornado and landed on them, like in the Wizard of Oz.
The Wizard of Oz. There you go. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, look at that. So they moved it on. Looks like is that 04 as in the year, or 04 as in the month? No, I'm guessing it was 2004, August 2004 of 20. No, it was the 4th of August in 2022. Move day.
There you go.
Yeah.
They have a Facebook page too, Southwest Model Railroad Museum.
Oh, diggity dog.
Thanks.
Well, no wonder they're
diggity dog, diggity. What you do to me?
I'm not. But see, now I have to start another Repeato Trains.
Your fast track to model railroading fun.
If it's N, if it's H-O, the fast track is Repeato.
Because you didn't open that link in the new tab.
That's right. I did not open that link in a
Rookie
new
move.
Rookie move. Yeah. Rookie move. So then
but carrying on, you'll find on March 21st, they'll be in Dallas, Texas at Discount Model Trains.
Yeah. Wow. There you go. And then on to Oklahoma City. And then Kansas City, St. Louis.
Oh, you know what he can get there?
Hot dogs. Oh, you know, you can see who he could visit there.
A t-shirt with a hot dog on it.
Oh yeah, a t-shirt with a hot dog on it. But better than yet, in St. Louis, you should be stopping at our buddy the Dude's place.
Oh yeah.
Who doesn't love the Dude? That's what's neat this week with our buddy Ken the Dude Patterson. And also, who else is on that show?
Oh, Joshua
There's,
Burton.
The
Barton.
Joshua Barton,
Joshua Bart,
And Mike Buddy.
Mike Buddy, and James Regier.
Mike Buddy, James Regier, the Eagle Scout and gapping on the team right now.
Daniel Combs.
Right.
Daniel Coombs.
All right, we're already 10 minutes into this introduction. So this is the introduction.
Right.
This is the introduction to part 2 of the Springfield Reports, and we haven't even got to the Queso Cowboys interviews, and I think he did like 14, so we're not even to there yet. I got a feeling this is going to be a 4-parter, the Springfield Reports.
Wow.
Could
There you
go. So on this
But the best part is that they all end with Tom's most favorite song, that
Yes.
cover of the Bee Gees.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Was it in Massachusetts?
Going back, Massachusetts. No. I think I sing it better than that one. All right, so here's the lineup for Springfield Reports Part 2. We've got your
Batting first and leading off.
Yeah, batting first and leading off. We got Otto Vondrak, the editor of Railroad Model Craftsman.
Cool.
I think he's like the managing editor of Railroad Model, Railfan and Railroad, which
Yes.
I'm still working on. It should be Railroad and Railfan. 1 month it should be back and forth.
Yes.
And then we got a fellow named Kent Carrier. These are not necessarily in order, but this is who is on the show. And then we got Kent Carrier, and he's with the R.I.T. Model Railroad Club, the Rochester.
Oh, is that the young lad who came around wanting to talk about his show coming up?
Yeah, I think. Well, we had 2 young lads. I'm not sure which.
Oh, okay.
But this is Kent Carrier from R.I.T. What's it called?
Okay.
R.I.T. Is it Rochester?
It's Rochester Institute of Technology, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where Otto went.
That's where Otto went.
Yeah.
And he was a member of that club for a long time. And I guess he's an alumni now. And then we got your Gordy Robinson.
Right, president of the National Model Railroad Association, based in beautiful Bury, Orkney, Scotland, UK.
Did you vote yet, Bruce, for the latest election?
I voted some time ago, and the election ended on March 1st, so I'm anxiously awaiting results.
Who'd you vote for? And for director at large for North America, who'd you vote for?
I did a write-in vote for Mickey Mouse.
And then we have Michelle Kempema. And Matt.
She's always entertaining.
She's always entertaining. And then we have Matt Dawson from England and Great Britain across the pond.
Yes.
And it was fun.
He brought a bucket of cheese balls and a box of tea that he left on the table for us.
Yeah, that's right, too. And you can't have too much tea.
You can never have too much tea.
Right now I'm taking an ice pack off my leg because my leg is starting to freeze over.
Okay.
Then we have Bill Ford.
Oh,
Bill Ford, what an exciting guy he is.
Yes.
I didn't screw up this interview.
Bonus.
So last year I screwed it up. This year I didn't screw it up. So we actually have Bill Ford on.
There we go.
And we have a fellow by the name of Brandon Bolwerk. That's a friend of Mr. Jingles.
All right.
He's a pilot for American Airlines. Not Mr. Jingles. This Brandon Bolwerk is a pilot for American Airlines.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a friend of Mr. Jingles, a traveling partner. And then finally, but we don't know what order they're in. I think we should probably finish with Bill Ford. Well, you know what? We'll have a meeting before we put the show out.
We'll put them on the big wheel and spin it and see if
who comes first. Yeah.
Bruce was reaching for his phone there, Kelly.
Ah.
And then finally we have a fellow by the name of Matt Stern, who is like the marketing guy for Bachman.
Oh.
He actually came by. He actually came by the booth and asked if he could be interviewed.
Oh, that's
Good
cool.
for him. Excellent.
And I said, "Are you sure?" And he says, "Yeah. I want to be on the ModelersLife." I said, "Are you sure?" Like, this is ModelersLife. Like, you understand what this podcast is, right?
Well, he probably heard the commercial for Rapido and said, "Hey, these guys know what they're doing."
But that would mean he had to listen to the podcast, which then would ask the basic question: "Are you sure you want to be on here?"
Yeah.
Well, hopefully he wasn't listening to viewer mail or the fans or anything.
Yeah.
Anyways,
that's where all the cool kids go.
Yeah, it's true. Anyways, that's it. That's the lineup.
Beautiful.
We've killed 15 minutes. We don't want. That's enough of us chit chat.
Yeah, we're right on track.
We're right on time. Okay, Kelly, go.
Subway chimes, go.
Okay, so now we're sitting here with Matt Dawson, who traveled all the way from. Boston.
That's not quite correct, Lionel. I've actually travelled all the way here from about near a town called Shirley near Birmingham in Great Britain. So I travelled down to London, had a flight over to JFK in New York, and then I drove up here from JFK.
Now, what day did you leave?
I left Tuesday evening from home, got to London late Tuesday, stayed in the airport for about 6+ hours. Flew out Wednesday, and I've been at the hotel since Wednesday, and I flew back tonight.
And are you glad you came?
Oh yeah, it's been a fantastic show. It's certainly so much larger than anything I've been to in the UK. I mean, Worley was one of the biggest shows, and this show must be at least 3 to 4 times the size of Worley. There's been loads of vendors. I've picked up loads of books, and I've caught up with everyone in AML as well, which is the best thing about it.
Exactly. Is this the first time to Springfield?
It is my first time.
Oh, so do you think you'll go back?
I'm certainly contemplating it. It was a bit stressful coming here because I've brought a couple of modules for the Lego display, but other than that, yeah, it's been great. And if finances allow it, I'll certainly try and come back again another year.
But are you going to go to Tomstock this year?
Oh, that's the question the finances will have to answer.
Oh, okay. Because it won't be like Tomstock last time if you don't come,
Oh, no, it won't. It's a new Tomstock every time.
Yeah, that's right. Tomstock is like a snowflake.
Yep.
It's never the same. Mm-hmm. So you brought 2 modules for the Lego guys.
Correct.
And were they built when you started out?
Yeah, so the way the modules work is they're built to a standard called LGMS, which is an acronym for the Lego Modular... L-Gauge Modular System.
Yeah.
And basically, Lego produce a base plate, which is, in stud length, is a 32 by 30, which is about a foot. And a module for that is a square of 3 of those base plates, so it's essentially a 3 by 3 foot square.
Yeah.
And I've brought 2 modules, which is equivalent to the 6 by 3 modules. One is actually a lift-out bridge, so the New England Lego Users Group actually had that on their section so that they could get in and out of the actual middle of the layout.
Right.
And then the other one's actually been used on the edge of some runaround loops so they can use that for switching if they need it to.
And whereabouts is this layout located in the Springfield show?
It's actually located in the Mallory complex right in the far corner, furthest away from the doors.
Pretty big too, isn't it?
Yeah, it's apparently the biggest one they've had since they've been coming to Springfield, and it's I must admit it's probably at least 50 to 60 foot across and probably about 20 to 30 in deep. So it's a massive display. It's certainly the biggest Lego display I've ever seen.
All right. And is that the only modeling you do, or do you do like other scale modeling as well? Or
it's all Lego for me. So everything I build is to a 1 to 48 rough scale. So it's 1 to 48 primarily, which is roughly O scale. But obviously there's a few differences with it being in Lego. So some things I sort of aim to have a tolerance of about 6 inches in terms of dimensions. So
how do you remember how you stumbled onto Lego model railroading?
Well, I originally started off as in my colourful history of doing model trains. I started off with some inherited British 00. Moved from that into British N, then moved from that back to British 00, then moved to American HO, and then while I was sort of tinkering with American HO, the Lego sort of train hobby was starting to pick up with some more aftermarket parts and that sort of stuff. And I was already building stuff out of Lego anyway, so just like, why not combine the two and just do Lego trains?
And what years would that be?
That's hard to pinpoint because I've been in model trains my entire life.
Right, but when was it roughly that you got heavily into Lego?
I'd probably say the last 8 to 10 years. And then Lego trains has probably been the last, I'd have said, 6 to 8.
It's very. The people that are in Lego trains are very satisfied with it, aren't they?
Oh yeah, it's a very constructive hobby. Pardon the pun, but. With the Lego, very little is actually available in terms of instructions. So pretty much any model you see that's Lego is normally something they've gone off prototype schematics and pictures and things like that. And it started to get recognised in the hobby. So Brick Moller did a Reading T1, which actually contributed to one of the T1 restoration projects. And Glenn Holland's actually built a main central Pacific loco, which actually has been recognised by the New England Steam Corporation, who actually are restoring one themselves.
Oh, really?
And they've actually had it on their table here at Springfield.
Wow. And do you think the Lego Corporation itself recognizes the impact that Lego model railroading is having on that?
They certainly have, and this year, well, I'll say this year, but it was last year, Lego released a idea set called Orient Express, which is based off the famous Orient Expresses in Europe, and that's about a metre to 4 feet, metre to 3, so 3.5 to 4 feet long, of a loco and 2 coaches. But the big thing with the Lego modelling community is that they actually used a Lego sort of like adult acronym called L-Gauge, which stands for Lego Gauge. So it's actually possibly an indication that Lego is recognising that Lego trains is actually quite a big thing. And in terms of Lego trains, any time there's been a poll for themes that should return or have a better investment or comeback, trains is always in the top 5.
Okay.
So it's certainly got its fan base.
All right. So what else is new in Matt Dawson's life?
I've been picking up lots of stuff at Springfield.
What kind of stuff have you been buying at Springfield? Like you were showing me a New Haven handbook you got.
Yeah, so this is actually one of the great finds I've had. It's a New York, New Haven and Hartford railroad company, air brakes operating rules, effective January 1st, 1943. And it actually has the amendments in it, which, well, normally you'd glue them down after it was published, so there'd be changes during the year, they'd glue them on. It's still got those, but they're detached, which is great because it means I can refer to the original ones. And I've picked up a couple of other things, mostly books. And the great thing about coming to a show like Springfield, if you're not a US native, is that there's lots of books here that I've never, A, seen before, and B, just I never knew were actually available.
Now, why would you be buying a New Haven thing? Is that what you would like to model in your Lego?
Yeah, so I have actually got... I do. Effectively, there's 2 main strands for my Lego trains. There's the interurban sort of street railroads component, and the other one is New Haven, and I dabble in a few other bits outside of that, but that's my primary 2 interests. So for New Haven, I've actually got a Alco High Hood 600 horsepower switcher, which actually has Loco-Fi, which is remote control using Wi-Fi. I've got a New Haven boxcar, and I've got another New Haven boxcar I'm going to build, which is the same one but in the billboard scheme. And I've got plans for an NE5 as well. So
that's cool.
And then on top of all that, I've actually going to build a New Haven H1 Atlantic as well.
Now, how long would it take you in Lego to build an Atlantic H1?
So primarily the first thing is the design stage. So I'd look for schematics, and certainly a lot of pictures. And this is a great thing with them. Certainly American Railroads is there's been a lot of photographers, even casual ones. So it's picked up a lot of detail I can use for details and that sort of stuff. So design-wise on the computer, you're probably looking at about, I'd have said 4 to 6 hours, just because I design it and then maybe find a better photo and revise a bit of the model, and then building and slot revisions would probably take another 4 hours or so on top of that.
So it's overall, it's like any kind of a scratch building project almost, right? It's kind of only with Lego.
Oh yeah, I mean it's in some respects it's no different to if you were going to take a selection of brass or some plastic cards and try and build a model. It's just that I'm using a bulkier raw material.
Cool. All right. Well, that's good. Well, I guess we've killed up enough time. When do you leave? And will you break down these modules, or are you going to pack them up and take them home the same way you brought them?
So yeah, they dismantle into smaller chunks. So they're just going to go into the suitcase like that with some packing around them. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Just once the show closes at 5, dismantle them into their constituent sort of like foot by foot or however big modules. Shove them into the suitcase, and then it's off to the airport.
And where are you flying out of?
JFK.
How long does it take to get there?
Google, when I checked on all the planning stuff when I was preparing to come over here, Google said about 3 hours. So as the show closes at 5, I'm probably going to dismantle it within half an hour. And then I've got 5.5 hours before my flight leave, so I need to get going.
Yeah, you do need to get going. You better go now. All right, say goodbye, Matt.
Goodbye, Matt.
Okay, so now I'm sitting here with, you got to hold the microphone up here.
Yes. Can you hear me now?
What's your name?
Brandon Bolwerk.
Raymond what?
Brandon Bolwerk.
How do you spell your last name?
Bolwerk.
Bolwerk. Okay, Bolwerk.
Yeah.
And you're a friend of David Hyde's.
Yes.
And how long have you known him?
Known David 4 or 5 years now.
Why are you not sure? It looks like you're looking at somebody.
Well, it's been a while, so
right.
I just can't remember.
Now, how'd you meet him?
He's a member of the Texas Northern Model Railroad Club in Dallas. He joined when with me. We're both members there.
Okay. Wait, did you join before him or vice versa?
I joined. David joined before me, but then left, and then I came back, I came into the club, and then David came back a few years later. So
okay. And what do you model?
I model basically the BNSF, modern BNSF, modern Union Pacific freight trains, unit trains.
Okay. Do you have a layout or?
Just have what the club. I just use the club right now.
Right.
Currently working on layout design for a house for when we move into it.
Do you have the house? Do people know that you have? Is it picked out, or is this in case you ever do build the houses?
We haven't picked it out yet. Probably it's gonna within the next year, though.
Okay. You seem very hazy about that.
Well,
does your wife know?
She knows. She's the one pushing for it. So
okay.
She said that the house has to have a room specifically for a train room. So she asked for dimensions, and she's like, "There you go."
What dimensions did you give her?
She's found 15 by 20, 25, so basically something like a game room. She's like, that's going to be your train room. So we've got to have, that's swimming pool priority number 1, priority number 2 is the train room, and then everything else beyond that.
Okay, and is she designing the house?
I'm sorry?
Is she designing the house?
We're going to do pre-existing, but yeah, I mean, if we can design one, then we'll do that, but...
Okay. It's just that you said she designed one 15 by 20 or something.
Oh, no, that's what she looks for in the footprint of the in the designs of the house.
Okay.
So
you should have told her you needed 40 by 40.
I can't get what's the word I'm trying to find? I can't get picky behind it.
Well, and you live in Texas, right?
I do.
There's no basements in Texas.
There are no basements in Texas.
And why is that? Is that hard rock or something underneath?
I believe so. I think it has to do with the water tables and stuff. So.
And whereabouts in Texas do you live?
It's Flower Mound, so right just north of Dallas, right north of Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport, right in the middle of the DFW Metroplex.
Oh, okay. That'd be handy if you were a pilot.
It would.
What do you do for a living?
I'm a pilot.
Oh, there you go. With American?
Yes.
All right. How long you been doing that?
A little over 2 years.
How do you like it?
With them. Love it.
Yeah?
Yeah, I get to go to all the train stores around the country for free.
And what plane do you like flying the most?
737s right now. So far that's been the most enjoyable one.
Yeah?
Yep.
Yeah, you're a fairly big fellow. They don't have it's not easy to get into the seat, is it?
No, it takes an art to slide in and slide out.
Yeah, because some guys a few years ago, I don't know how it ended up, but they invited me to sit in the seat before they ever even got close to taxiing or anything. And I could barely get in the seat because, number one, I'm an old guy. And number two, is like, it's a fair job to get in behind one of those seats.
Yeah, especially when your foot gets caught on something as you're coming in. It's like, uh-oh.
I think one other fly-in question.
All right.
Why do they put sheepskin on the seats?
I've wondered that myself, but I've been told it helps keep airflow between you and the seat so you don't get all hot and sweaty.
Okay. Yeah,
you
don't want to get you hot and sweaty when you're flying.
Exactly. You got to be comfortable.
So, all right. So if you do get to build some sort of a layout in a 15 by 20 room or 25 room, what do you think? Do you have any kind of concept of what you might do?
I'm thinking about maybe point to point. So just that way I can have 2 round loops and then maybe a couple peninsulas in the middle, have it run back and forth across the room, kind of take advantage of the square footage.
And have you operated on David Hyde's layout?
I have one time.
Only one time?
Only one time.
How come?
Because usually when he's operated, I'm having to work.
Oh, all right. He doesn't plan an operating session around your schedule?
No.
That's not very nice.
No, it's not.
We'll have to talk to him about that. Because do you think he has enough locomotives?
No, I think he should order some more. Just have a couple extra numbers just in case. I don't think 30 of one series is enough.
Like he's got drawers and drawers of them.
I know. I've got drawers and drawers of freight cars, though, too.
All right. Who's your favorite freight car manufacturer?
Predominantly Athearn and Intermountain.
Okay. So what's the Athearn's top of the line? What's theirs called, the top of the line?
Genesis.
Oh, yes, right. Okay, so you buy Athearn, Genesis, and Intermountain.
Yes, I've been, in fact, changing out some of the older stuff for the newer Athearn, Genesis, and Intermountain stuff.
And how often do you take your stuff to the train club?
Well, luckily I've got 2 lockers there, so I don't have to haul it to the...
Okay.
I try to get down there at least once a week.
And so does the club have its own equipment, but they let members run their stuff on there?
We do. We have some club locomotives for people that don't carry their own down. Right. There are the cars that are already out there can be used by anybody.
All right.
I forget the exact size of the layout, but I believe it's pushing 3,000 square feet.
So let's go over the name again. It's the name of the club is?
Texas Northern Model Railroad Club.
Texas Northern Model Railroad Club. And I'm assuming they probably have a website?
Yes.
All right, perfect. How do you think this interview went?
Pretty good.
All right. What's your first name again?
Brandon.
Brandon.
Yep.
Brandon?
Correct.
All right. Say goodbye, Brandon.
See ya.
Say goodbye, Brandon.
Goodbye, Brandon.
I don't know. You were up till 4 a.m.
Yeah, me, Bill Starkey.
Stick your...
Hey, that's me.
Yeah, it's Bill. It's Bill Ford. Last year we interviewed him and I screwed it up somehow and we couldn't hear it. So this year we're interviewing him again. And if you're hearing this, Bill, if you're in your car or wherever you are, where would you be when you're listening to this?
I would be on my way to work, being an electrician in Boston.
Okay.
At around 5 a.m.
All right. So if you can hear this in your car, then we didn't screw it up.
Beautiful.
So you're a pretty devoted AML fan, right?
I am indeed. I'm working on listening to all the podcasts and some of them twice.
And how did you find this?
So I had been out of the hobby for a very long time, and then I discovered podcasts, and I decided to search for Model Railroad podcasts, and I found one, and then I found you guys, and it stuck from the very first one, and I just started listening to everything I could on the Apple app, the podcast app, and that wasn't enough. And then I joined Patreon, and then I just decided to go all the way back and start from the beginning, because why not?
And what level of Patreon did you join?
I went straight for the $10 a month for the T-shirts and the swag and
how do
all of that.
How do you enjoy being part of the When Will I Get My T-Shirt contest?
It is a fantastic part of the group.
It's interesting and it's intriguing.
It's a mystery around every corner.
Yeah, there you go. That's what we call it. Everybody gets their T-shirt.
They do.
It's just we're just not sure when you'll get your T-shirt.
They do, and I got both of mine.
Okay.
And it's fantastic.
So now you're kind of caught up for a bit.
Now I'm caught up. Now I have to wait a whole year.
To try to catch up again.
Exactly.
I know. I was getting some ready to give out of the show, and Chris Costello and Mick Shea were already caught up, and I just about fell on the floor there when I saw that. So after how long of a gap were you out of the hobby then?
Oh my goodness, we're close to 30 years.
Okay, so it started as a kid, obviously.
Yep, and I was 13. Mom remarried. We moved. Then it kind of, with all that topsy-turviness, it took a back seat. Then I found music.
Okay.
Then I started playing the drums and playing in bands and collecting records and doing that whole thing.
Right.
And then, but it was always there. I'd still, intentionally go over grade crossings to catch a train. I would still intentionally stop at yards and watch them switch.
Right.
So it never left.
Right, exactly.
And then I decided I'll buy a train and put it under the Christmas tree. And then I decided maybe I'll start buying some things at my local hobby shop. And Then I found the podcast, and I was like, well, now I really have to do it, because I'm listening to all these guys doing everything they're doing. So now I'm going to... I've annexed a 2x12 area in my basement. I'm going to make a switching layout that you talk about. You don't need a massive empire.
Nope.
So I'm going to model the Hanover branch line. So I'll need like an old Alco S2, because that's where I grew up, right next to that branch line.
Okay,
in
right.
the 80s. So I would run down when I heard the train whistle going through the center of town, and I'd run down to my grade crossing at 7 years old and watch this old Alco, this crusty old switch engine pulling 3 crusty old cars at,
Right, yeah, to the local industries.
Exactly. So that's what I decided I'm going to model. So I'm researching now, but I'm close.
Can I ask you a question? Would you say...
Yes.
Have you noticed a difference in the camaraderie, fellowship, or whatever, or the connections that you have to the industry or to the hobby now than you did before you left it?
Night and day.
Yeah.
Night and day, because especially since I found the podcast, even this weekend alone, I have met so many people, it makes my head spin, and everyone is so inviting and so willing to help with any information they have, and it's a fantastic group of people.
Yeah, it really is. It's just a great group of people that just want to enjoy themselves. And
exactly.
So have you bought anything at the show?
I have. I finally dove into DCC, so I bought a NCE Power Cab.
Okay, cool.
What else did I buy? I bought 2 decoders. I've never done a decoder install. I've never actually taken a locomotive apart.
Okay.
So I have 2 Proto 2000, the lifelike ones. I have 2, an SW1 and an SW, was it 9/1200?
Okay.
So I'm going to jam decoders and speakers into those as my first real modeling, fixing it up, and I'm going to detail them and see how it goes. And
yeah, because you post a lot on the fans page, don't you?
I do. I try to, yes.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And do you have a Facebook page of your own for your model railroading, or no?
I don't yet, but I'm going to make one, because it seems it's just going to bring more people together.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, the beauty of Facebook and model railroading is, the thing that's been added to the hobby is that while you're doing these decoder installs, you can take pictures, post it, and you're either going to encourage somebody else to do it, or somebody will say, hey, you can maybe try doing this instead, and yada, 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 like that. And it makes a huge difference.
And that's exactly what I wanted to do. Photograph it, document the whole way. Look, I've been out of the hobby. I'm basically a beginner again.
Right.
This is what I'm doing. If I can do it, why can't you can do it too? I mean,
right. And where do you live again? I vaguely remember.
I live just south of Boston in a town called Braintree.
Okay. And what did you say you did for a living?
I am a union electrician.
Okay. So it'll be interesting to see, because you're an electrician, it'll be interesting to see how the decoder installs go, if you find it easy or difficult or whatever. You must, obviously you understand the basic principles of wiring and all that, so it'll be interesting to see.
But it's funny, as an electrician, I've never soldered a single thing in my entire life.
Really?
It's just because I build buildings, and so I run wires for lights and power. So I'm excited to get into the smaller details of it and learn how to solder. And
have you talked to Hard Part at all?
I did, and the new Fast Tracks fixture that he brought, I can't wait till I can get one of those, because I'm going to hand lay all my track. Well,
yeah, and he's the soldering. He's the AML soldering guru. So don't leave unless he's not here, and I know you're on your way out. But if you get a chance, he will walk you step by step through proper soldering procedures.
And that's excellent.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with. He knows more than he should know. What's your favorite part of the podcast?
Viewer mail.
Yeah,
hands down, it's my favorite. It's my favorite podcast. Other than I love the interviews. Don't get me wrong; they're great.
I understand.
But viewer mail is I look forward to it every time it's on.
I know. I try to do it once a month because it's just absolutely... And we put that on our Patreon channel. What would you call the Patreon channel? We try to say it's like a back porch with Aunt B and Andy and all that. It's kind of hard to describe.
It is, because sometimes it goes back to being the Antics channel, which is a lot of fun and a lot of laughs. And it's like a combination of the two. You could definitely see yourself sitting on the porch, having some drinks, talking with friends. You know, it's
exactly
it's camaraderie and fellowship.
We are so lucky we started this podcast. All the people we've met and all the people that have come together. It's just pretty freaking awesome.
It's fantastic.
So, yeah, keep posting on the fans page and let us see your progress because everybody's going to be interested. That's the thing I love about Facebook and Instagram and all that is people get to know people, and then you'll meet somebody in the future who'll be interacting with you on Facebook, and it's like there's no first date jitters. It's just like you start talking to them. Like I just met Josh Clark face-to-face for the first time, and he is NS Modeler 24.
Okay.
And he has a fantastic YouTube channel.
Nice.
And I just met him for the first time over there. I was sitting there with our buddy Lauren James of Otter Valley Railroad, and he walked into the booth, and it was like, oh, yeah, because we've interviewed him, and it's like, oh, yeah, hey, Josh, how you doing? And we'd never met each other face-to-face, and it was like, we were talking yesterday, so it's cool that way.
It is what's so great about it. I mean, I've met Chris Atkins and David Hyde and
right.
all you guys, and it was like, because I feel like I know you guys.
Right.
And it wasn't that hard for me to walk up and just introduce myself and say, hey, I'm Bill Ford.
Right.
And off you go. You're having a conversation like you've talked for years.
Exactly. All right. Well, we killed 10 minutes now. And like I say, if you hear this, then you made it.
Excellent.
Somehow I screwed up the button before. See, look at that. We're doing a podcast and a fan comes up and wants to say hi. Very exciting.
Very exciting indeed.
All right. That's it. Say goodbye, Bill.
Goodbye, Bill.
Okay. So now we're sitting with...
I'm Kent Carrier. I'm this year's vice president of the R.I.T. Model Railroad Club.
Kent Carrier?
Yes.
K-E-N-T?
K-E-N-T.
C-A-
Not to be confused with Ken.
C-A-R-R-I-E-R?
That's correct.
Okay, and you're the vice president of the Rochester... What's it called, the school?
The Rochester Institute of Technology Model Railroad Club.
Do you know Jim Scores?
I've heard the name before. I'm not familiar with him.
Do you know NCE?
I've also heard of them. Not familiar with them either.
How can you not be familiar with NCE? It's like the number one control system for model railroads.
Oh, yes. Sorry. Yeah, I'm familiar with them.
Well, Jim Scores.
I'm bad with names. Sorry.
Yeah, well, he lives in Webster Springs, which is just down the road from Rochester, and he went to school there. He's an alumni.
That would make sense.
So why are you here? What are you guys doing at the big show?
Well, the club goes here every year. Most of them just want to attend, look, see what Springfield has, possibly buy some stuff, possibly sell some stuff.
Are you looking for anything in particular?
I'm not personally, no. But I do know that one of our members is really looking for an SD40-2 CSX. I think he found it yesterday.
Made by? Who was the manufacturer?
I think he was looking for Cato.
Who's your favorite manufacturer?
I'm not sure I have one.
Okay.
Just whatever looks nice, honestly.
Do you prefer scale trains or Rapido?
I don't really have any strong opinions.
You really don't?
Nope. If it works well and it looks nice, it doesn't really matter to me.
Okay. All right. What kind of control system do you use for the club's layout?
The club's layout uses DCC.
What's the...
NCE. Yeah.
NCE. Yeah. See, we were just talking about that.
Yeah,
Are you sure you're the vice president of the club?
Vice president's mostly a managerial position.
Are you sure you're in a managerial position at the club? Because you don't seem to know much about it.
Well, a lot of my role is dealing with the administration at R.I.T.
All right. How many members do you have?
Around 20 to 30.
How many of them are active?
About 20.
Oh, really? So that's pretty good.
Bit over 20. Yeah, it's a high spot for the club this year.
All right. So now, how old of a gentleman are you?
I'm 21.
So as a 21-year-old in model railroading, I'm assuming you've been interested in trains since you're a kid?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
All right. So how does the world of model railroading look to you as a 21-year-old?
I wouldn't say that I'm quite as invested in model railroading as a lot of other people my age, but it just has that certain amount of magic to it, you know? You just look at all of it, and it just... Something in your brain recognizes that there's something cool going on, even if you're not really in the meat of it.
Right, exactly. So it's a magic. It's like a magical.
Yeah.
All right. So you guys stopped by to tell me about your train show.
Yeah, every year, second full weekend of December, we hold the Tiger Tracks Train Show. It's held in the Gordon Field House at R.I.T.
The what house?
The Gordon Field House.
Gordon Field House.
Event center.
The Gordon Field House. I'm assuming in that house there's fields.
That is usually used for track and field, yeah. But it's a nice place. It's a nice venue. Really a pleasant experience.
And is this to raise money for your...
Yeah, all the proceeds go directly towards the club. We also support some of the local layouts, paying them to attend our show.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
How many people might you get through it?
We've had around 2,000 in previous years. Last year we got around a little bit over 1,500, I think.
Okay, so it's a decent-sized show then.
Yeah, one of the largest shows in Western New York, if I'm not mistaken.
All right, cool. And now that it's been on the podcast, you're sure that the population of the show will grow like crazy, right?
Well, that's the hope.
Have you ever heard of this podcast?
I personally have not, no, but I know that a lot of people in the club are familiar with it.
Oh, are you? Are there? Okay, maybe you should start listening now that you're on.
I might.
All right, so let's say the dates of this show again.
December 14th and 15th for 2024.
At the Gordon Field House at the Rochester... what's it called?
The Rochester Institute of Technology.
All right. And what are you taking at school?
I'm a computational mathematics major.
Who what?
Computational mathematics.
All right. Say goodbye, Kent.
Say again?
Say goodbye, Kent.
Goodbye.
Kent.
Kent.
Okay, so now we're sitting here with, there's no button. This is a very hip podcast. There's no buttons for you to push.
This is fancy.
This is fancy. We're sitting here now with Michelle Kempema. That's how you say your last name, isn't it?
That's kind of how I heard it the first time I heard it. I was like, could you write that down? What? And then I married it. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, and then you married it. And what's its first name?
Keith Kempema. And everybody's names start with K in that family, and it took forever to figure it out.
Yeah, and it's actually not that hard of a name when you stop and read it. It's Kempema.
It's Kempema.
Yeah, it's Kempema.
Yeah, but it's just difficult for some reason.
Well, I had trouble saying Dave Abelese for the longest time. I would be Abels. I
have a Dave Abelese story really quick.
Do you?
I went to the tourism convention in Nashville recently.
Right.
And there's an actual tour company called the Onondaga Tours. And I walked up to her booth and I said, Onondaga. And she goes, you're the first person that said that word right in the whole convention. And I said, it's because there's a model railroad.
Named after it, and a very famous one. What was it going to... Oh, yeah, what is the deal with this Women's in Model Railroading Special Interest Group? I don't understand it at all.
Okay, so we created this to meet people and find friends and be social, and it's not just for women. I know you got something to say about that. But it's really fun. We're finding... Like the women that sit in the booths here at the Amherst show,
right?
They don't know each other.
Right.
And so one of the points of what we do is for them to find someone here that they could meet and have friends when they come to this show.
Which is an absolutely fantabulous idea.
Well, thank you.
It's a great idea. I loved it. The last time you told me about that, one of its main purposes is to gather the women that are at these big shows together.
Right.
And give them and then start to create a purpose of why they're together. It's a great idea.
And then this show, John Sacerdoti and Greg Moss took it one step further for us this year. And the Dry Hill Model Railroad,
right?
They're actually hosting an operating session tonight that's open to anyone, and we've been advertising it, and it's for women in model railroading. So you can come and try your first op session. And we've already talked to women today who are coming tonight.
And where is this?
This is on the Dry Hill layout. It'll happen after the show closes, but the Amherst show themselves help us put this together. So
the Dry Holy layout?
The Dry Hill layout. Dry Hill. Yeah.
Layout.
It's over in the Mallory building.
Okay. And what is it? HO?
It's HO.
Okay.
And they're wonderful, and they will help first-time operators go around on their layout. They have a hump yard. They have switching. They have running. They kind of have everything on that layout. And Marie, who helps run it, she's half of the management for it, is amazing. And
I should go talk to her.
Yeah, you should.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That would be a good interview.
Yeah, she's been working for a long time. There's another woman who's a manager of a layout here, and that's the Reading Lines, also in the Mallory. And Karen is phenomenal, too.
She's got a great personality.
Yes.
I heard her on the podcast somewhere. I think our buddy Tom Jacobs interviewed her last year, and she's got a great personality.
Yeah, so I have been so blessed to meet all these amazing women here.
There are a ton of women in this hobby.
Yeah.
And because the hobby's becoming more centralized and more energies into it, more women are seeing that it's worthwhile and something they can get interested in. Because it's about being artistic than anything.
Right, it is. And it's interesting because probably most of the women want to build the world, but there's a few like me that are like, I'm all about the train.
Right.
Right? But it all goes together. It's all one hobby. So
So I'm assuming that men can't join the women in model railroading SIG.
Men can join the women in model railroading.
Why would you let men join the women's?
I do get asked this a lot, so let's talk about it.
Well, yeah, let's talk about it because I'm never joining.
Well, and that's okay.
I'm happy to donate. I'll donate. If you want me to donate, I'll donate, but I'm never joining.
So one thing that we found since we started it is, well, actually, the first person to join was Gordy Robinson of the NMRA.
Well, of course.
Because he wanted to support it.
He sticks his nose in everywhere.
Anyway, he was the first one. We've actually had a lot of husbands join. So,
Okay.
And they come to our Zoom together as a couple. And so we have that because they model together. They're actually couples not like me and my husband.
Right.
Who actually enjoy modeling together. They exist. We've had some men who have said to us, I joined because I am so excited to see women be promoted.
Sure.
And so I just want to support that. And so they're just overdoing, like they're just so excited to be there. So we have that. We have some transgender
Okay, that's cool.
who have said to me, thank you for a safe place to be. I'm really comfortable here.
Well, I think that's a really important aspect that the hobby actually does
I do too. Yeah.
bring to a lot of people is people of transgender that can't find a place to be. I'm very definite about that with the AML Nation. It's
Right.
the only rule we have is don't be a butthead.
So I did start Women in Model Railroading with the ladies, but honestly, we just love people.
Sure.
And everybody is welcome. So
Well, and as a member of the male community for several decades,
okay.
may I just give my suggestion to any man out there listening: don't join. Give them money, be supportive, but just stay the hell away because you're going to end up being much happier in the end run. Because
And I'm going to say, don't listen to Lionel. You can join. This is our argument.
yeah, our constant argument. And so, what about? Are you doing anything else of interest these days?
I actually am announcing 2 things at this show.
2 things.
But I don't have a booth to announce in, so I guess I'm announcing it here.
Booth? How come you don't have a booth?
Well, for one thing, there's a huge wait list to get a booth here. And it's hard for me to travel with all that. And do you think I'd actually stay in it?
No. But next year we should find you a little corner of our
Maybe.
booth and you could stick stuff on.
That would be nice. The NMRA is letting us use their tables for the Women in Model Railroading events.
Okay.
Which is great because we're a special interest group of the NMRA.
Right. And is there any men there?
There's a lot of guys in the booth. Okay, so I have 2 announcements. First, we're creating the Colorado Rail Prototype Meet. And we're kicking it off in September of 2024 and doing as a one day and doing the full RPM in 2025. And I have an amazing venue across from the museum.
Well, you're doing the Colorado RPM meet.
The Colorado RPM meet.
For a day.
On September 21st.
To get it started.
And get our local people to see where we're doing it,
right.
what we're doing. And then we'll do a 2-day full-on RPM next year.
And because you're about an hour north of Denver, so there's plenty of people. What's the model railroading scene like in Greeley, Colorado?
Actually, it's amazing. Colorado has so many layouts, and this is why we're doing an RPM.
Okay.
Caboose hobbies existed for a decade? I mean, like forever.
Yeah.
And when Caboose, the first one, closed, the social aspect of finding each other in northern Colorado disappeared.
Right.
And so there's clubs, they're here and there. There's people who operate on their home layouts, they're here and there. We have new people who don't know anyone.
Right.
And at the museum, at the Colorado Model Railroad Museum, we have a bunch of operators, and we don't have model builders.
That's actually really cool how you have those guys operating that layout.
It's wonderful, and I love the operators, but I realize there's a whole section of modelers that I've never met.
Yeah.
And so the point of doing the RPM, I took this to our board of directors and I said, I have a crazy idea. This is why I want to do it. I want to meet people. And they need to meet each other.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
We need to be operating on each other's layouts again. And we have a whole generation of younger people under 30 in Colorado who don't know each other.
Yeah.
And they don't know how to find each other. So hopefully this is where they'll meet each other.
I have a question for you.
Okay.
This is kind of a philosophical question. But how long have you been associated with the museum now?
I just passed my 13th anniversary of employment, which means 14 years.
Okay.
Because I was a volunteer for a year.
And before that, you didn't really have an interest in model railroading or trains, did you?
No, but I did have a layout in college when I was first married.
Really?
Yeah, and this is really funny because I went to Caboose Hobbies with Tom, my first husband, and when we were in college, we had a little trailer home, and we put a 4x8 layout in there.
Oh, really?
And I picked up my first train based on the color of the cars.
Well, of course. Everybody does that.
And I found my locomotive recently at a train show used. It was a Great Northern with like this teal color on it, this steam engine.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I bought one just to put on my shelf.
So your first husband was a model railroader?
He was. Yeah.
Okay.
But we never had anything after that. We never did it after
what
that.
about your third husband? Do you think he'll be a model railroader?
I don't think I'm going to have a third husband. I'm pretty good with the Kempema one.
All right, okay.
He lets me go and look at trains. And
all right, so let's just go back to 14 years ago.
Yeah.
What do you? How do you think the hobby? You've seen the hobby from a lot of different angles. You've done a lot for the hobby, which is cool. I'm very proud of you for that.
Thank you. I've been destroying it one day at a time.
Yeah.
I was told. If you're asking me how it went in the beginning, I was told I would destroy the hobby at the very beginning.
Well, people say to me that I'm at war with all the other podcasts, and I don't even talk to them, so I don't exactly know what they're talking about. That's rumors spread.
Yeah, and I want everybody to love everybody.
Yeah, well, and I'm happy to love people so long as they're not being poopy to me. And we only have one rule here at the AML Nation: don't be a butthead.
I can handle not being a butthead.
Yeah.
So I'm like neutral party for everybody, right?
So my question is, how have you seen the hobby change in these 14 years since you stepped into the Greeley Model Railroad Museum?
I have seen it change.
I know.
I have. So when I started, I got hit with the MMR wall telling me I would destroy the hobby, right? Like, Who are you? Why would you put a Star Wars character on the layout? You have destroyed this prototypical layout by putting a Darth Vader right there, or whatever that thing is called, right?
And was that a member of the museum?
He was a member of the Northern Colorado Model Railroad Club.
Oh, okay.
And at the so we had a Star Wars day. It was amazing because I owned the toys. They're 1/87 scale. I put them in the layout.
Well, sure, I get it.
The public came in and met the hobby, right? The public came in and saw the hobby. And I talked about it at the club meeting, and this guy came up to me, and he's like, you will single-handedly destroy this hobby with crap like that. I met quite a few people like that, actually, early on, because my job was to get people in the door of the museum to meet the hobby.
Right.
But honestly, my motivation wasn't about the hobby at the time. I just needed to pay the light bill.
Yeah.
And over the years, I have fallen in love with the hobby, and I understand the importance of it.
Right.
And so I can translate it to the general public and why they would want to be involved. But I've seen our younger operators that come in. I'm talking, we had like 6 guys under 30 come in as new volunteers last year. And they love the modern trains. They love the tech. They don't know how to be social. They don't have any clue how to find other modelers. They somehow find us. They're missing that whole social aspect of the hobby. And I say, well, you could join a club. And they're like, why?
Yeah.
Right? Because they want something, I don't know, new and different. And yeah, I'm not sure how to describe it, but definitely tech is playing a part in the changing of the hobby.
What is playing a part?
The new technologies and just all this. The ability to operate.
In these 14 years, have you learned to appreciate? I don't know exactly what the right way is to, but I'm with you. Like the dinosaur on the layout isn't going to ruin the hobby. However, if you're trying to build a real nice model railroad, you're not going to put a dinosaur on the layout. So have you learned to appreciate the difference between, because there's a place for both types of model railroading.
Right. I learned this word called freelance.
Right.
That changed my life. Once I understood freelance. Yes, and what's really, really funny is that I'm doing my Fremo end module at home.
Right.
And I'm struggling because I am a rivet counter and I want it to be perfect.
Right.
And I can't achieve it because I don't have the talent yet. And so I'm in this boat where I'm just want to throw my hands up and be like, I can't do this. Somebody come do this for me. And then I'll paint the scenery. Right? But I'm needing to learn it. And so I'm doing it. I'm also learning. I understand why people like some aspects of it and not others.
Right. Yeah. Like some people like electrical. Some people like scenery.
I hate the electrical. And I don't like anything with a straight line. Like, I just want to paint the grass. Right?
Yeah.
And so I'm having to make these roads and they have to be perfect because I want it to look perfect.
Right.
And I didn't know that about me. I'll throw Star Wars on a layout once a perfect, anyway.
But I think that's I think you can add a real interesting perspective to the hobby because from where you come and Now you want to have an RPM meet, and you understand that an RPM meet is about
Perfection.
It's not about
no,
perfection.
that's not true. Yeah, you're right.
It's not about
That's
perfection.
Not true.
It's about enjoying that aspect of the hobby.
Correct. Yes.
I think that's an aspect
That's the way to put
of the
that.
hobby.
I'm excited that I understand that people bring things as they're working on them, and we get to see. Like, I'm excited about that part of it too.
Yeah, exactly. Don't put it down yet.
Oh,
you
we're
got to
not
at
done
least
yet?
say goodbye, Michelle.
Oh, goodbye, Lionel. Goodbye, Michelle.
Goodbye, Michelle. Okay, so now we're sitting here with the Bachman guy. The guy from Bachman, Bachman. What's your name there, Bachman guy?
My name is Matt Stern.
Matt Stern?
Yep.
And what do you do with Bachman?
I manage the marketing department.
Wow.
So I oversee our ad development, our social media presence, and our catalog.
And how long you been doing that?
I've been with Bachman for about 3 years now.
How many times were you a model railroader before you were with Bachman?
Oh, absolutely. My whole life. Yep.
Oh, really, eh?
Yep. Got a HO scale layout in my basement, switching layout, and I've been into trains my whole life.
And so this is kind of like a dream job, kind of, isn't it?
I couldn't ask for anything better.
Where's Bachman located exactly?
We're located in Philadelphia, in the northeast portion of the city. We're actually in the same location we've been in since, I believe it was 1923.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy mackerel. And how many people, like Bachman is a huge company, how many people would it employ?
So at our location in Philadelphia, which is our main U.S. location, we have approximately, I believe it's around 37 people.
Okay.
That includes our service department, our parts department, and product development, marketing, and sales. But we also have other Bachman companies around the world that have their own, they're all kind of their own entities under the Bachman brand, but there's Bachman Europe, there's Lilliput in Germany, and of course there's Bachman China as well.
Right, okay. And so what's new at how many? So you've been coming to Springfield for years, I'm guessing, eh?
I have been, yeah.
So what's new at Bachman this year?
At Bachman this year? Well, we got a lot of new locomotives that we've been announcing over the last couple of years. We have, of course, the big new thing is the Acela 2 in our Spectrum line.
Right.
That's the new Amtrak Acela. That's coming in 2 parts. It's a 9-car train, so it's a pretty long train for a model railroad. We're offering it as a 3-car set with the 2 power cars, and we're offering the 6 additional cars as separate sale if you want to expand it to the full length.
Wow. Okay. And what would the 2 powered cars and what would you say? 2 powered cars and a.
So it's 2 power cars, essentially locomotives.
Right.
2 transition cars. They have so the consist is it uses a shared truck system.
Right.
So you have the 2 end cars that have a full truck on one end where it goes up against the locomotives, and then it has a shared truck on the other side. And then in the middle, you have the cafe car, which sits on those 2 shared trucks.
Oh, really? Okay. You know a lot of stuff already, I can tell. What do you model? At home, what are you modeling?
So I'm modeling Philadelphia right now, relatively Philadelphia. It's a proto-freelance layout. It's based on the Philadelphia suburbs, kind of inspired by the short line railroads that interchange and run over SEPTA, such as Pennsylvania Northeastern. But I'm ankle deep, or probably a little bit more than that, into planning my next layout, which is going to be a total change in the Pacific Northwest. So I'm all over the place.
Really? The Pacific Northwest you're going to?
Yeah. I'm a big fan of tall trees, mountains, forests, and BNSF.
And will it be the same size kind of thing, or are you going to...
That'll depend on when my wife and I relocate to a larger house.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's all planned out, but it's contingent on having a bigger basement.
A bigger roof over the basement.
Well, yes, that too.
All right, so this Acela in the Bachman line, Bachman has like different levels, don't they, of product?
Yeah, so our Spectrum line is that's our highest end, where we have the most detailed stuff. But we also have a lot of stuff in our standard line that just about meet Spectrum quality, such as our Charger locomotives, our Siemens Chargers, our new Venture cars that we just released for Via Rail and Amtrak. And then, of course, we go all the way down to the train sets, which are a fantastic entry-level specification of model to get people into the hobby.
And how do you see the hobby? Like, what's the hobby? How do you guys see the hobby at Bachman? You see it as sales leveled off since COVID? Is it going back up again? Where are you guys at?
We're doing well. Of course, as everybody did, we definitely had a bump during COVID. Everybody was stuck at home and rediscovering their hobbies, and I think we all benefited from that. Not that we benefited from COVID, but from but from the the side effect of being at home. It's leveled off since then, but it's still doing very well. We're still seeing strong numbers in people buying our products, which is I think the hobby is going well.
Do you mind if I ask you how old of a gentleman you are?
Yeah, not a problem. I'm 33.
So what have you seen different? I'm assuming you've been a model railroader your whole life, like you said.
Yeah.
And so what have you seen? What's the big thing that you've seen change over the last, say, 25 years since you've really been involved in the hobby?
I think what I've seen, the biggest change that I've seen is there are more young people in the hobby now than there have been at any other point in my life. When I was a kid, I thought I was the only kid my age who liked trains.
Right.
And I think the internet has also helped bring people together. So people are discovering more like-minded people, which very well may be a part of it. But I think there are more young people in the hobby now. You go trackside. I also rail fan. And you go trackside, and even 10, 15 years ago, you wouldn't see the number of kids that you see today going out with cameras and photographing trains.
Right, that's a good point. And I had a really good question. Don't tell me what it was. I'll think of it. What was it going to be? I can't remember now. All right. Well, yeah. You said you're the social media guy, right?
So I manage our social media presence. I oversee it. We have another marketing employee who works on it directly as well.
I think social media has brought a new energy to this hobby.
Absolutely, it has. Yeah, it's enabled people to, like I was saying, find like-minded people, no matter how far away they are, and enables them to get together, whether virtually or in person, and share their layouts, share their experiences, and for us, it's been a great mechanism for reaching the customer and showing them what we have coming out. We show our new. We have something called New Model Monday every Monday, where we show a picture of our latest samples that have arrived from the factory, and we try and keep everybody up to date with exactly what's going on as products come to market.
New Model Monday.
Yes.
Do you have that much stuff that you can, or is it sometimes New Model Monday will be where the Excella is this week and that kind of thing, or do you actually have enough stuff to have a new model every Monday?
We actually do have enough stuff. So we do two primary announcements per year. We announce for our catalog, which generally we announce at the show. We just announced some new products yesterday at the show. And then our catalog will follow next month. And then we announce at the NMRA show in the summer as well. But we announce a significant amount of products in both of those. Some of them were just repaints of existing products. New paint schemes, new road numbers.
Sure, right.
Like
okay.
But we try and release a fair amount of brand new stuff every year if possible as well.
But even new stuff with different paint schemes is of interest to a lot of people too.
Of course, yeah.
Because you can only release so many paint schemes at a time, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and so many railroads even have multiple paint schemes within the same railroad, and trying to cover all those is you could spend a year just doing that.
Yeah, exactly. Now, you guys, I think in the past have worked with Ken Patterson, have you not, for your catalog and stuff, photos and stuff?
Yeah, he's been a great assistance to us. He's photographed numerous products in our line. We have a lot of his photos in our catalog. He's done our catalog cover for many years, and we actually are have do a live show with him, or we do a recorded show with him every month for his magazine as well. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. We like to call him here at the old AML Nation, we refer to him as the dude.
Yeah.
Because he's pretty much like the dude.
He is. He absolutely is, yeah.
He's the dude in model railroading. And that's something to be proud of.
Absolutely, yeah. No, he's a great guy.
He is a good guy. Ken is a good guy. What else besides Excella are you guys excited about right now?
So we've got some new 060s coming in. Now, we've had our classic 060s in HO scale in the line for many years. You'll find them in our train sets. You'll find them in separate sale. They're a great entry-level item, but we're now offering a new tooled version that's going to be more up to the caliber of a experienced modeler. It's got road-specific details on both the locomotive and the tender. Actually, I think we have 3 or 4 different tender styles depending on the road name. They come with soundtracks, economy sound on board. And they're very cool little yard switchers.
I know some of these questions aren't necessarily your department, but soundtracks is really your go-to decoder, right?
So we have a couple of them. We've been working with soundtracks for many years, first with our Sound Value and now with the economy line. But we also work with TCS. They've given us fantastic sounds for our WOW sound models, like the New York Central Hudson and the Amtrak Charger locomotives, and many more like that. So, and we're also with Soundtracks, we're introducing our first Tsunami 2 locomotive as well, which is our new version of the 44-tonner.
Oh, you're doing a 44-tonner too?
We are, yeah. So the 44-tonner was actually the first ever Spectrum loco that we introduced back in 1988.
I had some of those.
Yeah, so we're reintroducing it. It's it's a little slicker looking now than it used to be, and it's got, like I said, Tsunami 2 sound, and should be a neat little addition to the line.
And I'm assuming the mechanism will be far greatly improved.
Yeah, our mechanisms now are not the same mechanisms we used, say 15, 20 years ago.
Right. And when can we expect the 44-tonner?
These are actually in the final stages of development now, so they should be hitting shelves, I would say, probably late spring to early summer.
You're competing with Rapido trains, eh?
It wasn't intentional.
Oh, really?
No.
Okay. So are you part of, or do you have ideas, any idea of how do they decide what's coming next?
So there are a few of us, rail fans and modelers within the company. We're always on the lookout for what people are talking about, what might be missing from the market, and we follow the requests that people have as well and see, is there a pattern? Is there something that it sounds like there's more people want this than something else? And then sometimes it'll also depend on, what we already have. If we have something that has a similar chassis, it's something that we can work off of. Right. That'll help factor in our decision as well.
And finally, with this, back to the Acela, because I think that's your big deal right now, isn't it? When is it? Has it been released or?
So we're still in the development stage for that now. We just unveiled our first full painted sample here at the show. We're probably looking at a late August to maybe even into the fall release at this point. Just because we're still in development and we're still finalizing things.
Right, and you want it to be as close to perfect as possible.
Exactly.
How many times would you go through, the factory builds one and you kind of go, no, you got to do this, or no, you got to do that? Is that like a 2 or 3 times kind of process, or?
Yeah, it'll depend. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less, depending on the complexity of the model or the paint scheme. With models like the Acela 2, what can be a challenge with that is, we're developing it at the same time as the real one is under development. They haven't come into service yet, so any modifications that may be made as they're being tested then have to be followed on the model as well, as best as possible to keep them as accurate as possible.
So, being the social media guy and being involved in that end of it, are you, and we've all both agreed that the hobby's growing and there's a lot more younger people in it, how did you guys determine that the Acela 2 was the way to go?
Well, we've kind of been the staple manufacturer of Northeast Corridor models for a while. We've got our very successful ACS 64. We've had our AM fleets in the line for many years, which have been retooled fairly recently. We've had, going back even further, we had the HHP8 and the original Acela, which is still in the line now, actually. And even down as far as the E60s back in the 80s. So it was just the natural progression of our Northeast Corridor line, and we wanted to make sure we were staying on top of what was current.
That's kind of neat that you're building a locomotive where it's not even really released to the real world yet, and you guys got to keep kind of working. That's a challenge.
It certainly comes with its challenges, it does, but I think the final result will be worth it.
All right, cool. Well, we talked for 14 minutes. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about? Anything else? Any other product you wanted to mention?
Yeah, I mean, we have so many other products. I could probably fill an hour and a half talking, but I won't.
Really?
I won't do that. But we have some other interesting products on the horizon. Recently, we just released our short body bay window caboose, which is also we're also marketing as a transfer caboose, which is not specifically what the prototype was, but it's close enough in styling that it can be used for that on your railroad.
Right.
That's a really cool model. I believe it has 23 or 24, maybe even more separately applied parts. Really cool detailed cabin. In terms of things that are upcoming, we've got our GE C36-7 in HO scale. That's the first plastic mass production model of this locomotive that's ever been announced.
Wow, cool.
So we're pretty excited about that. There should be more information on that later this year. We have a Siemens S70 light rail vehicle, modern light rail vehicle, that's also under development. Again, something that is going to hopefully fill a hole in the market. That right now there's not a lot of modern light rail stuff out there. No. We continue to grow our line with interesting freight cars that bring a little bit more to the market than maybe just a standard car. Like we have our cars with operating end-of-train devices attached to them. Like I said, I could go on.
Yeah, well, all right. It's been a good interview, and we'll have to do this on a regular basis.
Absolutely, I'd love that.
All right, cool. You know what? We'll exchange information, and we'll get you on podcast again.
All right, sounds good.
All right, say goodbye, Matt.
All right, bye.
No, say goodbye, Matt.
Goodbye, Matt.
There you go. Okay, now we're sitting with our buddy Gordy Robinson, the president of the National Model Railroad Association. And I'm here to interview him and find out, give him a hard time, ask him a lot of really hard questions, and really drag him over the coals. Are you okay with that, Gordy?
Why are we any different from normal, eh?
There you go. Exactly. Is that an Irish accent you got there?
I hope not.
So when did you come? When did you arrive in the North America landscape?
So I arrived a week ago. I've been working, so I arrived up in New England on Wednesday evening.
And the reason you're be able to come early because the company you work for now, what's the company? Where is they located? The same company in Kirkwall, right?
Yeah, they're in Kirkwall. Yeah, in Orkney.
It's amazing that there's a company in Orkney, on an island in Orkney, that is that good at their job that they've got you traveling all over North America, selling and servicing the product, basically.
It's basically seeing customers and getting use cases for what they'd like developing in our software. So I'm in Omaha next week.
Omaha,
Nebraska.
You know who made Omaha famous, don't you?
Union Pacific? No,
Peyton Manning of the Indianapolis Colts. One of his things on when he called an audible, he went, Omaha.
Okay.
And then he started to become famous. You got to be a bit of a football guy.
Yeah.
But I understand you're a huge Toronto Maple Leaf fan.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
You sound tired, Gordy. Okay, so
right
now it's 4 o'clock on Saturday afternoon of the big show. What do you call this show?
The Amherst Railroad Hobby Show, or the Springfield, Exposition Centre.
I call it Springfield.
I call it Springfield too, to be honest, but I get told off, so I call it the Amherst full name as much as possible.
I was just over in the NMRA booth, and I got a free cookie.
Oh, awesome. I didn't see it. I was probably...
Well, you're busy.
I was talking to somebody.
You're always schmoozing with all the members and potential members.
Yeah, I was speaking to Stacey Wolfers there and Nancy from Soundtracks. Yeah, we're having a good chat.
I should interview her.
You really should.
Can you put in a good word for me?
I'll try.
Don't tell her the truth.
Okay.
About me.
Okay.
I tell her that every time I interview you, it's nothing but softball questions.
I'll tell her that you're lovely.
All right, so it's 2024 now, Gordy. What's on the horizon for the NMRA?
Well, it's positive. I mean, we ended 2023 up in terms of members for the first time.
Really?
Yep. We just voted yesterday not to increase the member dues, even though we should, because inflation's gone up.
Why should you? No,
well, we shouldn't. We should. What we've done is we've reconstruct. How do you put it? I'm so tired. We've made changes to mean that we don't need to increase the membership fee, even though our costs have gone up because of inflation. So
restructured. You've restructured.
That's the word, restructured. Yeah. We've done a lot of work to do that. There's a lot more going on. So we're doing a lot for our members, but we're growing, which is amazing because the NMRA wasn't growing for such a long time. So
can you give us an idea of what was the membership at the end of 2022?
2022, it was about 15,300.
And at the end of 2023?
It's about 15,450.
So you increased the membership by 150.
Roughly just under 150, yeah.
That's huge because
it's huge, yeah.
Just stop the outflow, and you don't have to. It doesn't have to be a big change, just as long as you stop the people, the lowering of the membership, and started going the other way.
Yeah,
it's like turning around a full-size aircraft carrier. You don't just turn it.
Yeah, no.
You got to slow it down first, then you got to start turning it. So, what would you say? What do you think are some of the things that made the NMRA grow by 150 members?
I think the culture's made a huge difference. I think we've got more engaged people that feel more empowered to do things at a local level and national. People can see that, the NMRA is actually doing something. It's a place that I want to be. And I think that's made a huge difference. That's what people are telling me, that their reason for joining, and more importantly, their reason for staying. So
what do you think you and your crew, how many board of directors are there?
There was one board of directors, but people on the board, there are 9 directors, of which 4 are now outside of North America. Not outside the United States, and there are 4 officers, including myself. And then there's a team of about 8 department heads as well.
Okay, I don't think this is a hardball question. I think this is a softball question. What do you think are the benefits of having 4 of the directors from outside of North America?
I think it's introduced a different way of thinking. I think it's moved us away from having generational leadership where people have just worked their way up the ladder, and it's just been a move on. There's been very good people in the past. I'm not disparaging anything that people have done in the past, but I think it's just brought in a different view, and a lot of these overseas directors are younger with a different approach. They've grown up. A lot of them are still working, which helps a lot, as opposed to being retired. They're more with the latest innovations in business, and that really is helping the organisation. And I've been looking at the elections that are coming up and who's there, and Brad in Australia is now running unopposed for the Pacific District Director role, so he'll be coming in. That's another board member under 40. And I think that's really positive. It's a different approach. People are more willing to try things than maybe they were in the past.
Yeah, I think that's important, that the younger breed is a little less afraid to, because it's not that necessarily the older generation didn't care about the NMRA, but it was easier to not change than it was to change. So somehow it kind of ended up in that kind of a rut for a while.
Absolutely, and we're still struggling with some of the deferred decisions that have occurred for probably 20 or 30 years. So we've got a lot of work that's going on at the moment. In the background, the problem is none of that is really very public facing, but we need to change our membership system. We need to put in new IT infrastructure, make things easier for members, renewals, getting information out of the organisation, engaging with the organisation, local levels engaging with members. And we've done a lot to encourage our local divisions to engage with members, and they're doing that, especially new members. Otherwise we wouldn't be growing. Simple as that. But we need to help them make that easier. Currently that's not as easy as it should be. And so I set up in August a digital transformation committee, and they're looking at that. And we spoke a lot at the board meeting about that yesterday. So all positive stuff. It's just taking time.
Yeah, I think relationship between head office, the administration and the member is huge. Like, that's something that you need to concentrate on. But I do have something I want to yell at you at.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Uh-huh.
I promised you only softball questions, but this one's coming right down the middle. It's a heater right down the middle at 94 miles an hour.
Yep.
I really think I'm annoyed at you because you came up with an absolutely fabulous idea that maybe you first introduced to me a year ago. Maybe, I don't remember specifically, but as far as I'm concerned, it's a great idea, a virtual region. And
yep.
I have not seen anything happen with that, and so I'm wildly angry that you haven't done anything with that yet.
Well, let's talk about that, actually, because what we decided to do instead of doing a virtual region was we decided to create a online environment where people could engage and talk. So we've got the NMRA Interchange now, which is a Discord server that our members are in. And the thing is, it's a beast. We got over 900 members in there, and that is effectively our virtual region. We don't need to have job titles and positions and things. People have native conversations. We do op sessions through there. People dispatch through there. People have talk. We have special little groups that meet up. The Australians go in there on a Wednesday and have a chat, or Tuesday, I think it is. We've got loads of things going on in there. So we've effectively created a virtual region. I suppose what I'm lacking is a volunteer to kind of drive that forward more. But we have been doing work to put the infrastructure in place for it, and that's free for members to use. It doesn't cost them anything extra to be a part of that. So I think pre-COVID, I think my virtual region idea was everything that a lot of divisions did during COVID, which was getting online, meeting, talking. And post-COVID, we're in a different place, and I think the interchange and giving people the ability to communicate and encouraging that online has really helped. So all the meetings that we've done to prepare for Springfield, we've had them on the interchange with people all over the world, and loads of people have been able to just join and put their input in, even if they're not going to be at the show. But it's been completely open and transparent, and everyone's been able to talk about it, and they've been publicly promoted, like advertised, and loads of people joined them and shared their views on what the NMRA should do. And if you go over, people won't now, but if you go to Virtual Railfan, hopefully it'll still be up. We had a live stream of the NMRA booth, and you can see how different that looks from the NMRA of 10 years ago, 5 years ago.
That's for sure. And so you were saying that there were virtual meetings that people could partake in to throw in their 2 cents worth?
Yeah, there was virtual meetings where everyone was open to all NMRA members to talk about what they thought we should do at Springfield. So at the show, we've got a meet and greet area. That was one idea. We've got that. It happens to be the bar in the Better Living Centre, which is very convenient. And we've also got a booth that looks totally different. So, and we're doing lots of events. We're doing lots of events and activities around the show. We've got an op session this evening. Unfortunately, it clashes with an AML event.
Yes.
But we've got an op session this evening. We've just done a Women in Model Railroading cookie event, which you got a cookie from. Thank you for coming getting a cookie. We've also tomorrow morning for the vendors before the show opens, we got a coffee and donuts meeting over on our booth for the vendors, just so they can be charged for tomorrow. So we're doing a lot.
What kind of donuts?
I guess they're ones with holes in the middle. I have no idea.
But you're the president. Shouldn't you have some sort of you're the handle on what kind of donuts there are?
I delegated the purchase of the donuts, I'll be honest.
Do you like? I like honey dip. I can do a honey dip.
We might have a honey dip.
All right, save me a honey dip.
Okay.
All right. So, has your enthusiasm? This is a hard job. I bet you people don't realize. I mean, aside from the fact that when you come on here, I yell at you. This is a really hard job because people are always yelling at you about something, and some of them are with the best intentions, but it's still exhausting for you, right? I mean,
people are always willing to share. So yeah, and it's exhausting. And look, what I've done, I'm working this week. I've been working. I got in here at 10 o'clock on Wednesday night. At 5:25 in the morning, I was with John Sacradotti, the show director, and I came and volunteered here all day on Thursday. Not all day. I was still in the show setting up at 9 o'clock at night. The board meeting yesterday, that started. I was down in the boardroom getting set up at 6:30 a.m. and I was still doing things related to the show. After the board meeting, I came to the show and I got back to my hotel room at 10:30 last night. I'm back here again this morning at 5:25. I had breakfast with the show team, with the floor managers, and we helped get the show up and running and finished off setting our booth up. And I'm still here now. That's why I sound probably really tired. I've been working and traveling. It's a normal week. A normal week for me is working 50 to 60 hours in the daytime, and then 7 o'clock at night till midnight, sometimes later. I'll sit in front of my computer, answer emails from NMRA members, go on to meetings, discuss things with my team, make some phone calls with different people all over the NMRA, not just the national team, but a lot of regions and divisions leadership know that they'll get a phone call from me, or we'll arrange a phone call to talk about local issues. So that happens 5 nights a week, and then Saturday and Sunday is usually attending virtual division meetings all over the place. So it's a very hard job. It can be stressful. I think we've also got a conversation going on at the moment about what happens when I am no longer the president, and making sure that we're encouraging the next generation.
Get sick and die or something?
Can't do it forever. That would be a bit like Vladimir Putin. So we'll need to be bringing. We as an organisation need to develop and bring on the next generation, and we're not good at that. We had some conversations about that yesterday. So it is exhausting. It's very tiring. I've got a young family and a full-time job. But I love it. I feel I'm doing something worthwhile, and that's why I do it.
I think that's the key for people to realize, and I mean, I think we've said that before, regardless of even if we disagree on a particular point, it never changes. You love this hobby. I mean, you have that great story about, as a kid, you went to a club, and your dad dropped you off, and some guys took you under the wing, and that's really the root of what drives you with the NMRA. And I mean, it's no matter what anybody says, your intentions are to make it a better place for everybody.
Absolutely. That's what I want it to be. My son's 2.5, and I want him to have the same opportunities to enjoy the hobby as much as I have. So I'll do everything that I can to grow the hobby and to grow the NMRA.
All right. I can't leave this. We've been on the air for 15 minutes. I feel like I treated you pretty well this time, but I can't, because we're at a train show, I feel like this is a particular issue that can't be passed by. and I need to take every opportunity to promote this. In 1996, the National Convention, it was in Boston, and they had the train show part in a parking garage.
Yeah.
And then, for lack of a better description, it was a disaster. The vendors lost money. Nobody showed up to the show.
Well, this was 1986, not 1996.
Yeah, am I got the wrong year?
Yeah, it's 1986.
I thought I said 86.
It was 86. No, you said 96 this time. It was 86. And there's a major problem. I wasn't born.
But you're the president now.
Yeah, but because of that disaster, Gordy was born. That's how we've resolved this issue.
You know, it's like a slave trade from the 1700s. It doesn't matter that you weren't alive. What matters is what's happened, and what are you going to do? What kind of reparations you're going to do for these vendors that lost money?
Well, unfortunately, that was a long time ago, and we're going to we're not doing anything. But train show wise, you know, we're not very good at doing them, so we are going to resolve that very soon. There'll be more news from the NMRA very shortly about it.
So that wasn't too bad, was it? That interview?
No, that was fine.
All right. See, you thought I was just going to...
People don't shout at Lionel. Lionel doesn't mean it. Just be nice to everybody, please. Be kind.
Yeah, but that's right. That's one of your things, and you're 100% right. And I appreciate everything you're doing, Gordy. Even if sometimes I don't agree with you, I appreciate everything you do because I know that it's all done with the intention of making the NMRA better. You're a good person. You know, that's what people need to know. You're just a good guy. You're one of those people that makes the world a better place. And I appreciate that.
Thanks, Lionel. Appreciate you.
So now you have to say Subway Chimes go.
Subway Chimes go.
Well, with enthusiasm. I don't care how tired you are.
Subway Chime go.
Okay, so now we're sitting here with our longtime friend, Model Railroad Magazine editor of Railroad Model Craftsman, regular on the AML Network podcast, just all-around great guy, Otto Vondrak.
Thanks for having me, Lionel. It's good to see you again.
And your dad's name is Ed, right?
Yeah, but not the Ed you're thinking of.
Okay. That is such a weird anomaly.
It is.
What's new in the... so today's Sunday of the big Springfield train show. What do you call this show?
It goes by so many names. I've been calling it the Amherst Railway Society show. I've been calling it the Big Railroad Hobby Show. But I think one thing is clear. This is definitely the largest railroad event in America. And I think as someone else was talking, it's not only just the largest event in America. I mean, we're drawing people from America, Canada, all over North America, and international too. I mean, there's people here from literally all over the world attending this event.
All over the world. I think it's easily the biggest show in all of North America.
Absolutely.
Could maybe be, because there's that one gigantic toy show in Germany, is there not?
The Nuremberg Toy Show is a big event overseas,
right.
Yeah.
But this could be the biggest model railroad exclusive show in the whole world. I don't know, but...
Well, I think that's what's great about this event is that it's not just model railroad. Yeah, the manufacturers are here. There's plenty of model railroads on display. There's vendors selling new and used trains, but there's also so much support from railroad museums, historical societies, tourist railroads. If it's anything having to do with railroads in the East, it's here at this show.
Yeah, exactly. And I think I heard John Sacerdoti, show director, say that yesterday was like a record day, 16,000 and something.
15,000, I think is what he said.
Wow.
Yeah, 15,000.
Lots. I thought I heard 16.
Well, Chris had to correct me because I thought I heard 50, and that sounded a little more than I think we can handle here. But either way, no, a great first day. And even today with it's like light rain turning into snow, but there's still plenty of people here. Not as crowded as day one, but definitely still a great event to visit with people.
Actually, for a Sunday, it's pretty crowded.
It is. It's pretty busy. We've been doing a pretty great business over at our booth in the Young Building. We've been doing pretty well, and we're always happy when we don't have product to ship home. So it's been a good weekend so far.
So White River Productions.
White River Productions, your home for premier railroad publications.
And you are the editor of Railroad Model Craftsman.
I am, since 2019.
And so 5 years now.
5 years, yeah.
And should we recreate that scene once again?
Back at Pillar 68.
Yeah. I've told this story 1,000 times, and I'm going to tell it again because it's one that I particularly enjoy.
Sure.
Any story where I'm right is a story that I enjoy.
Wait, Lionel, you've been wrong?
Well, it's fuzzy now, but I'm pretty sure it was once. So I'm walking along in the main building, and I see Otto coming the other way, and we stop right at a pillar, and there was kind of a shimmer around us, and we get talking, and I said to Otto, you know who should be the next editor of Railroad Model Craftsman? And he goes innocently, who? And I said, you, of course. And you were like, oh, I don't know if I could do that, and blah, blah, blah. And actually, I think you were serious at the time. And I'm like, you are the guy. You are the perfect guy for this job. And it turned out you were the perfect guy for the job.
Well, and it was funny because there had been a search for the next editor, and I had casually tossed my hat in the ring, and I wasn't sure if Kevin Udaly thought I was serious or not, or if they thought I could take on the extra workload because I was still working on Railfan and Railroad. And I think they had interviewed a bunch of people, and I think a bunch of people actually went to them and said, you need to consider me. And I was very flattered. I didn't really think I was in the running at all. And I was driving home from this show back to New York, and my good friend Super Dave's in the car. The phone rings, and it's Stephen Priest, who was the editor just before me. Stephen Priest calls up. He's like, Otto, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm driving home. He's like, no, why aren't you taking this job? And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, you need to get on the phone with Kevin right now, because I just got on the phone with Kevin and told him he needs to pick you, and you need to call him right now. So here I am in the car driving home on the thruway, and Kevin's like, hey, man, do you want the job? And I'm like, I guess so. And that's how it happened. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I appreciate your support, a lot of other people trying to support me, and quite frankly, it's a dream job that I still can't believe I have to this day.
So 5 years later, what's the one thing you think, if you look back, you kind of go, well, I didn't see it was going to be like this, and this part of the job is not boring, but it's kind of a bit tedious.
It's really hard to say because I feel like my job is constantly evolving. I do a lot of the same development work I do for Railfan and Railroad. I'm reaching out to authors. A lot of times I'm just surfing the web and I find someone with great photography.
I know,
or in this case, great modeling.
That's a question I'd like to ask you. Don't you feel like there's way more material out there for publication than there was in the past?
I feel with social media platforms, people are more comfortable sharing their work. More people are scanning their old railroad slides, or they're having a smartphone in their pocket, just taking pictures of model railroad projects that they're working on. And sharing those with people, because in both instances you get instant feedback. People tell you, wow, great photos, post more, or hey, that's a great modeling project, I want to see more. A lot of times people are posting pictures of their layouts, and I'm like, do you have more pictures like this? Because we'll put you in the magazine. I'm like, that's how easy it is.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I want to get. We're going to get our buddy Scott Lister in there
someday. We'll get Scott. We'll get Scott into this magazine.
Oh, we are definitely doing that. I'm going to help him write the article. So that's what's holding him up. Because
you hold his hand and push the pencil.
I will. There you go. I will hold his hand and push the pencil. So what's coming up in Railroad? What is your capacity with Railfan and Railroad?
I'm now managing editor.
Wow.
So Steve Barry's the editor. I am managing editor under him, and then Justin Franz is our associate editor.
Okay, and then so you're the next guy. You're the go-between between the owner, the corporate, and the man and the editor.
Yes,
and
I'm successfully middle management. Thank you.
Okay, so I'd like to revisit something that we've talked about before. And now that you're the the managing editor of Railfan Railroad, I feel like this is my best opportunity.
Lay it on me, brother.
Far.
Yeah.
It's the title of the magazine. It's kind of hard to remember. You know that it's Railfan and Railroad, or is it Railroad and Railfan? Or I think it's Railfan and Railroad. But then I thought
it is Railfan and Railroad. But maybe we can switch it up, Lionel.
Well, then I came up with this brilliant idea that I've proposed before, which is January it's Railfan and Railroad, February it's Railroad and Railfan, and you just continually reverse it back and forth. That way, nobody's ever wrong.
Well, this year it's our 50th anniversary of Railfan and Railroad, and our 50th anniversary issue is coming up in November. Maybe this is the time to make the change.
Well, yeah. You don't have to make a big announcement about it. Very subtle.
I think subtle's the way to go. You know what? We have a meeting coming up. I'll run up a flagpole, and we'll see what pans out.
I would really appreciate it. Yeah. And if you need me to make some sort of presentation, some sort of slide presentation or something, just give me a dingle.
8x10 color glossies with descriptions on the back.
Yeah. Just give me a dingle on the old blower, and I'll do what I can.
All right. Well, we're in.
All right. So what have you seen in the show that's got you excited?
Too much to cover in 30 seconds, but we've seen...
Well, I'll give you a bit more than 30 seconds.
We've seen some great announcements from Rapido. They're coming out with another run of FL9s, this time rebuilt, the rebuilt versions that were rebuilt by Morrison Knudsen for Connecticut DOT. That's personally exciting to me because I grew up with those engines. Some great freight cars from Rapido. We just came from Intermountain, where they finally have some samples of their long-awaited Jeep 16 diesels. Class 1 Model Works had some beautiful 86-foot auto parts boxcars in 4-door and 8-door versions. Bachman Trains has some more. We were just talking about how powerful the concept of having more contemporary passenger train models. People want to model what they see outside their door.
Yeah.
And because Bachman is a licensee of Siemens, Amtrak, and Via, they're making great models of the new Via Venture trains, the Siemens coaches for Amtrak Midwest, the Siemens Chargers, the new Acela train, and everyone's like, oh, that's such a limited market. Who wants to model Amtrak? What you forget, Amtrak and Via both run over a host railroad. So if you're modeling Canadian Pacific, Canadian National, it's not unheard of to have a Via passenger train on your railroad, or if you're modeling any other railroad, have an Amtrak train running over it. It's not that far-fetched, and quite frankly, they wouldn't be making these models if people weren't buying them.
That's right. This industry is growing like crazy as far as I can see.
15,000 people coming through the door should tell you that this event is not, like, this hobby's not dying.
Well, yeah, and that's such an old song anyways. It's not that. The hobby's changing. There's a new energy to the hobby that we have never seen in decades.
And the way it's changing, I want everyone to listen to this. And I think if you are listening to this, we're preaching to the choir. I think people who are fans of this podcast realize this hobby is absolutely not dying. It's not changing. It's evolving. And even if it was changing, it's not changing in a bad way. It's not exclusionary. We're not cutting out people who are already experiencing and enjoying the hobby. We're being more inclusive. There's more things to model. There are prototypes out there that we never thought we'd see mass-produced. Structure kits, rolling stock, locomotives, new types of scenery techniques, electronics. There's so much going on. To say the hobby is dying or exclusionary is just not a smart way of talking.
It's goofy. Oh, right now Otto's pointing at somebody. That's what Otto does when you're with him. He's just kind of like he's like when Frank Sinatra would come out on stage and he'd start pointing at people, like, hey.
Well, it's funny, and my friend Charles Rothbard's walking by here, and we've been friends for a long time. And I'm here with my friend Chris Stelson, he's been a huge help. We could not do all the social media coverage that we've done this weekend. But me personally, I've been coming to the show for about 25 years now, and I've been working it on the other side of the rope for the last 15 or so. And having grown up in the Northeast, just even being a rail fan and traveling a lot, being active on forums, doing model railroading, me personally, I can't walk 10 feet without seeing someone, saying hello, shaking hands. And it's sometimes it's frustrating because it's like, I want to stop and have like a hour-long conversation with you, but I'm on my way to see someone, or there's 6 other people in line waiting to talk to me, and I'm not patting myself on the back. It's great to see everyone. And I wish this was a 3-day show.
Right.
Because it's great being able to shop and visit the vendors and support our advertisers. I love catching up with everyone and being able to see them in person. This is the amazing social aspect of our hobby, and it's celebrated here at Springfield.
That's right. I'm starting my mandate now for the NMRA. If you want to sell it, just sell fellowship. That's what's going to sell the NMRA, and that's what this hobby's about.
Well, even if we can break away from Springfield for a second, me being at the National Train Show each year, same thing. I see people I reconnect with once a year, visiting various RPM meets, and you're just reconnecting with people. Yes, there's a lot of connection taking place online, but walking down the aisles, seeing your friends, being able to visit an RPM meet, talk about modeling techniques with someone, going to an NMRA convention, and being able to meet people from all around the country, all around the world. It's making those connections in person that reinforce those connections on social media.
That's true. That's a good way of putting it. And the reverse is they meet people in social media, then you see them here in person.
Yeah.
The in-person thing is not going away. It's just been enhanced.
It's an augment. What have we always talked about? Anything that we do online is not a replacement for in real life interaction. It's an augment. It's an enhancement. It's another dimension.
All right. What's happening? Do you have a personal model railroad?
It's funny you mentioned that, Lionel. I'm very close to reestablishing my model railroad in the basement. I just purchased a brand new basement a couple years ago. It has a house over it.
Okay.
And the house keeps the water off the railroad. I've been trying to carve out time to...
Must be hard.
It really is, and I'm not whining that I'm so busy, but...
Well, when you're general manager or managing editor of one magazine and the editor of another magazine, and I'm sure you do other stuff for White River Productions.
And president of the Railroad Museum.
And president of the Railroad Museum.
And joining two convention committees that I probably shouldn't be on.
Which ones are you joining?
I'm helping a friend bring the New York Central System Historical Society Convention to Rochester, New York in 2025. And I am working with the Exploratory Committee that's making a bid on bringing the NMRA National Convention to Rochester as well in a couple years.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
I'm really campaigning hard for that because not only would it be fun to bring everyone to Rochester, but I think bringing a convention to the Northeast that's affordable is
Rochester's a great town.
It's a great town. There's a lot of regional attractions we can incorporate, and I hope that we can convince the NMRA that's a good idea. That there's a ton of model railroading activity.
Oh, there's a lot of there.
A ton of railroad activity. Plus, home of the greatest hockey team ever.
The Rochester Americans.
Go Amherst.
Steeped in AHL history.
Absolutely.
Steeped in AHL history.
But no, so it's like I'm trying to carve out time, and that's probably the hardest thing. And I just ran a couple of tutorials, and maybe people think it's boring, about prepping your room. And you have to prep the layout room. And you have to have storage, because if you're climbing over stuff, there's piles of stuff. If the room's not ready for you to enjoy your hobby,
that's right.
You're going to be frustrated.
You got to do the room first. It's very hard to make yourself do that, but room prep is key.
It's discipline, and you have to discipline yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
You're going to go down there. It's going to be messy. You're not going to want to enjoy yourself. You're going to be frustrated. But I was just talking with Chris. I'm very close. I'm dismantling an old workbench that the previous owner had down there. That's for my staging yards. Or it's actually going to be a visible yard. It's going to be a visible switching yard. And the whole railroad's built off that yard, so I didn't want to start building benchwork there without building the yard first.
Right, yeah.
But I think I'm very close in the next couple of months, start building the benchwork for the yard. And once the yard's ready, I'll start building out to the rest of the railroad, and we'll see some progress.
And the key is, I've seen your modeling, and the key is you don't need to build some big, spectacular railroad. People would just be thrilled to see some photos of a smaller, medium-sized railroad.
Well, and that's and it's not that I'm not against large railroads. I'm actually impressed by the people who fill their basements and build extra basements and have massive operating sessions. I think that's neat. I'm not sure I have the resources or commitment to do that.
Right.
And over the years, I've discovered I enjoy building the scenes more than I enjoy building a large railroad. And I think this railroad's going to be an incorporation of several scenes that I want to model. And we'll see where it goes. I actually, against every fiber of my being, I don't have a plan for this railroad, which is weird. I'm the track plan guy.
Yeah.
I need a plan. And I've been very nebulous about it. And I think it's going to be one of those things, as I start building out the benchwork, I start building out my scenes, I think that's going to drive my design, and we'll see where it goes.
You've been nebulous.
Nebulous.
Wow. That's a big word.
It means without form.
Oh.
Without defined shape.
That would be me. I'm nebulous.
Bulbous was the word we were looking for. I'm sorry, that was mean.
Here comes my tea and my donut.
Oh, yes, the catering's here, so I guess it's time to wrap up.
Yeah, it is. So say goodbye, Otto. And
goodbye, Otto.
I always enjoy talking to you. We always have so much fun on the podcast. We'll have to find something else for you to do on the podcast.
Well, I think, we got a couple things we can do, right? We got 50th anniversary of Railfan we could talk about.
Yeah.
And I'm working on a new exciting project, O-Scale Trains Annual. We converted O-Scale Trains magazine into an annual.
All right, so that's a date. So that's a date that we'll talk.
We've got some really exciting things to talk about, and my model railroad, I'm sure, will be a topic of discussion.
Right.
So please invite me back. I'd love to talk.
Say goodbye again, Otto.
Goodbye again, Otto.
So, Kelly, what did you think of those interviews?
I thought they were fantastic. It's interesting that all the different people that are at the show
That's true.
It's just
Did you have
it's a nice it's nice time to be around.
Did you have a particular favorite?
Michelle's the favorite, I think.
Oh yeah,
she's so bubbly and knowledgeable and energetic.
Okay, she's always fun to be around.
Yeah,
she wanted to know. She had all kinds of questions for me that I couldn't answer on the air. So I just said, well, let's talk about it after we're done here, because everybody wants to know what Michelle's doing. And then of course we talked to Gordy, the president of the NMRA. How long is it going to take you, Bruce, to find out? Like another hour and a half has passed since we did the introduction. Have you heard the results?
I have not heard, but I know that any mail-in ballots had to be postmarked no later than March 1st. So let's assume a week after that, which to get through the postal system, who knows? But let's assume March 8th, I should know by the middle of March, because the term starts, I believe, in April. So
yeah, it'd be kind of a bummer if I didn't know until I hope there's not like a big court case like there was with Al Gore and George or W.
No hanging chads.
Yeah, we don't want any hanging chads in this one. Who did you vote for, Kelly, for North American Director at Large?
I voted for this guy in Canada.
Really?
Yeah, he had a very interesting bio. And
did he mention me at all?
No, I don't think he did.
Well, then he should get votes. Then.
Yeah, definitely.
That's a plus, you're saying?
Yeah. You don't want to be mentioning you're hanging out with that Strang boy.
Yeah.
I wonder now that it's an hour and a half later if they're any farther along on their bus trip that's leaving on March the 15th. March 17th, California Southern Model Railroad Club.
Yeah.
Discount model trains in Texas. McCormick Stillman Model Railroad Park in Phoenix. I've never even heard of that.
It's actually in Scottsdale, but it's
close enough.
Yeah, but it's a nice park. It's got It's got a 7.5 gauge club there. It's got a little layout in the building. It's got a hobby shop, and it's got I think it's a 12-inch, and it runs around the park, and it's pretty nice.
Look at you being Mr.
Well, I used to live in
oh, that's right,
Cottonwood, and we'd go down to Phoenix, and I wanted to go see what it was like. I don't recommend going there in the middle of the summer, though.
Little warm.
Lots of warm, especially when you step off the curve onto the asphalt. Your feet
asphalt.
stick to it. Yeah,
which would be a real bummer if you weren't wearing shoes.
Oh yeah,
ooh, absolutely.
But it was a great place to visit.
Yeah. Did you go in the? So, how hot would it get in Cottonwood, Arizona?
Cottonwood, not too hot because it's further up in the state. It's a higher elevation, and it's a dry heat. So you really have to watch your liquid intake. You have to drink a lot of water.
As some of us found out in Rochelle a few years ago.
Yeah, and it's a nice area. Sedona and Cottonwood and Clarkdale and Jerome, up on the mount above the
Copper Country.
Copper Country, yes. Clarkdale had the train that ran out towards. Let's see. It ran out towards. I want to remember where it's near where the cutoff goes to Grand Canyon. I can't remember the town right away, but. It's interesting. They still have a train that runs back and forth from where it gets onto the one branch and it goes to the end. And they still have a cement plant there that makes cement and have trains that come in and take it out. In Clarkdale, which is just outside of Cottonwood.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What's the railroad that runs to Clarkdale?
I believe it's BNSF.
Oh, really?
But the train I'm not sure if the Verde Valley Railroad, which is the tourist line that runs that line, and it goes through a canyon and follows the Verde River.
What's the model railroad that was? What's the name of the model railroad in Cottonwood?
Oh, and you mean Cornville?
Cottonwood.
I don't remember.
Well, you don't remember?
No, because I never visited it. That was one place I didn't know it was there. There was one in the I want to say it was a Clarkdale Museum. No, it wasn't the museum in Clarkdale. It was Cottonwood had a museum, and there was a small model railroad club there, and they were trying to reproduce the area with the copper mine and the trains and all that stuff. But I don't remember the name of that, and I'm going to go look now.
Yeah, go look for the Model Railroad Club in Cornville, Arizona. Yeah, go look. Because
it's a private.
I know it's a private.
Yeah.
It's a private model railroad, but it's massive. And I know
people.
the official flight attendant of the AML network, Tracy Boyd, has been there. Do you think
the Wyoming Division Historical Society?
Do you think that they would have any Rapido trains?
You're fast track to model railroading fun?
Rapido trains, your fast track to model railroading fun.
On that layout in Cornville?
I don't know.
Well, could you take a guess?
We should ask Tracy.
There you go. Beauties.
Let me see if we have equipment.
Boy, that drive from Cottonwood through Jerome down 89A.
Oh, it's intense. It's intense. I love doing that because we didn't have a Home Depot in the area. So we had the fastest way was to go up on 89A across the mountain and then down into, boy, my mind's not working right now.
It doesn't look like there's anything fast about 89A.
Oh, it's not, it's faster than going out to 17 and then go down to and then cut. It's a shorter distance, but It's an intense drive over the mountain. Very few guardrails. You actually drive up through where they actually had places where they got water for the smelter. Yeah, and then they had a couple of mines. There were a couple of mines up there.
You're kind of like a fountain of information. For
that area, yeah. I spent almost on and off 4 years at least.
Yeah, because you commuted.
I commuted every other month.
Right. To what was it, West?
From Westport, the fire department,
Westport, Connecticut.
Yep.
How big was the fire? How many guys did they have in the Westport, Connecticut fire department?
We had about, I believe, 60.
And how did you get a job with the Westport Fire Department?
I was lucky. One of my ex-girlfriends told me you should find a better job than what you're working at, because I was working at a steel warehouse.
Well, I understand that, but it's not like it's a big, like, how did you throw a pin at a map or something and go?
No, she found in the newspaper the advertisement for taking the written test, and I went and took the written test, and I passed, and then went for the physical, which I thought I would fail. And I passed that.
Wow. Have you made it home from Springfield yet?
Yeah, I got home.
Okay.
Not in good condition, but I got home.
None of us were in good condition when we left, I don't think. All right, so that's it. So we've killed that. So we also listened to Matt Dawson, which was fun, and Matt Stern from Bachman, and Otto Vondrak, the editor of Railroad Model Craftsman. I want to get him on here. You okay?
Excuse me while I clean up my ear.
Are you okay, Kelly? He's not okay. He turned his mic off. He's coughing. It's just
now it's working.
You spin up lung?
Yeah.
No, I thought I pushed the mute button. I was going to spare you the sound.
Well, you push it after you cough.
Yeah, you push it after you cough.
Yeah, then I pushed it again. Oh, God.
Yeah.
I wonder if it sounds like that UFO one when Crater got hit.
Oh, yeah. No, it doesn't sound like that.
No.
It just sounded like...
Okay. It sounds like somebody coughing.
It sounded like you were coughing up a lung.
Yeah.
I forgot to turn the fan on in my southern studio room here, and I'm sweating buckets.
You're roasting.
I'm roasting. Okay, so what else do we have to say about the Springfield Report number 2, which I believe is part 2 of 4?
Wow.
It was nice to listen to the younger people in the hobby.
That's true.
And
yeah.
See what they're up and doing. So it's, despite the doom and gloom since, the second day the NMRA was invented to the hobbiesmen, and that there's no young people and the hobby's dying. I think the hobby's in great shape, and there's plenty of younger people involved.
I don't think that we should ever have that discussion again, because I think
Absolutely
It's
not.
evolving. It's evolving.
No, if you looked at the number of younger people in there on Saturday, particularly walking around the show carrying multiple bags full of stuff they purchased, like this hobby's not going anywhere fast. Yeah.
No way. It's only growing. All these manufacturing companies wouldn't be manufacturing if it wasn't growing, and they wouldn't be buying buses and driving across the country and all that sort of stuff. All right, that's it. We're done. So, Bruce, did we say Rapido trains?
Your fast track to model railroading fun.
If it's N, if it's H-O, the fast track is Rapido.
Bruce, Kelly, can you give out our email address?
Yeah, I think I can.
I don't think you can, but give it a shot.
I can. So if you want to reach us by the wonders of email, you can reach us at modelerslife@gmail.com. That's modeler with one L like railroad, not two L's like Cornville.
Nice. I would have gone, or like one L like Lake Montezuma.
Ooh, yeah.
Which is just down the road from Cornville.
Yes, it is. It's across I-17, and it's an interesting place. Both the cliff dwelling is interesting, and there's a well south of it that they used to get their water from, and the water comes out and gets into it comes through a huge cliff along the Verde River, and it's clean water, except the only problem with the well right now, that well, is it's filled with leeches.
Ooh.
They don't let you swim in it.
That's the only problem with it?
Yeah.
And what's this about cliff dwelling?
The Montezuma is the cliff dwelling. The Anastasi Indians built these dwellings high up so that you could be protected from your enemies and wild animals and stuff like that. And they built these buildings inside the cliffs, so the cliffs are overhangs, so they're protected from the weather, and they have poles that they have sort of makeshift steps on them to climb up, ladders to climb up into the different dwellings.
Going down to the village to get groceries wasn't that tough. It was bringing the groceries back up the hill.
Up the hill and up the ladder.
Yeah, that would be the killer.
But there were actually two. There was a Pueblo in Cottonwood that you can visit too. There's a lot of historical Indian, Native American historical stuff there, which is pretty cool.
Should we be trying to verify any of this?
You could do whatever you want.
Bruce, how confident are you that this is all accurate information?
Well, we strive for transparency, but not so much on the accuracy.
Exactly. So it really
I'm transparent because I live there.
Does it really matter?
Yeah, it really doesn't matter, does it? No. Let's just go with it's all accurate information as far as we're concerned. All right, that's it. Now, so we gave out the email address, and if you missed that email address, you can go to our website, amodelerslife.com, scroll down a little bit, and you'll find a picture of the moderately agitated mailboy in a particularly agitated state. And what was the problem that day, Bruce?
That particular picture was taken on October 31st. I don't know what year it was, but I was reprising my costume of the previous year as a grumpy old man, and once again nailed the look.
And of course, there's a bunch of other stuff, but this is the free channel.
It is.
Oh, yeah.
Which is why I've been talking about our sponsor.
Exactly. And so if you go to ModelersLife.com, you can also see there's a link for our Patreon channel. And there you can, if you'd like twice as much podcasting a week of the AML.
And who wouldn't want it?
And who wouldn't want it? You just click on the Patreon button, and then for a few cents a day, you can have twice as much podcasting. And if you want to enter the contest that is sweeping the nation, when will I get my T-shirt? You can click on the higher level, the second tier, and enter the when will I get my T-shirt contest. You will get your T-shirt. Well, that reminds me, I wanted to say that anybody that doesn't feel like that feels like they're owed T-shirts, send us an email. Number one, it'll be fun to read it on the viewer mail, and number two, it'll help remind me that I owe you a T-shirt. We owe you a T-shirt. I don't owe you a T-shirt. The AML Corporation owes you a T-shirt.
You're using like the royal we.
Yeah, the royal we. We do.
Yeah.
We owe you a T-shirt or 2 or 3 or 4.
Whatever the case may be.
Yeah. And that's it. I think that's it. Oh, yeah. But if you go to Kelly.
Yeah.
Have you ever wanted a T-shirt with a hot dog on it?
I've been looking at that T-shirt for a while now, and I'm really getting ready to pull the trigger on it.
All right. So the answer is
yes.
Well, if anybody out there wants a T-shirt with a hot dog on it, if you go to Midwest Model Railroad and their URL is midwestmodelrr.com and go across the navigation bar to other and click on the drop-down menu, you'll see AML shop, and boom, you'll be in a wonderland of AML merchandise, hats, hoodies, T-shirts, mugs, and in there you'll find a T-shirt with a hot dog on it.
Mm.
A T-shirt with a hot dog on it. No, I think we've covered it all, haven't we, Bruce?
Yeah. I believe you're correct. We got the alternate mail access, the email address, midwestmodelrr.com, Patreon. That's it.
We're done. We're out of here.
We're done like dinner.
All right. Say, are you ready, Kelly?
Yeah, I'm ready.
So remember, a Modeler's Life podcast is considered marginally adequate by 6 out of 10
Springfield Convention attendees who caught COVID.
And the lights all went down in Massachusetts the day I left, standing on the road, trying to hitch a ride to San Francisco. Got to do the things I got to do, and the lights all went down in Massachusetts.
It's another Lincoln Homer.
Is
it not technically a convention, though, is it?
No, I'm sorry. I goofed on that one.
Yeah,
I had it in my mind. I got excited, and I just overdid it.
Yeah, there you go.
He got excited, Bruce.
That's it.
Springfield. I should have said Springfield attendees who got the crud.
The crud. There you go.
The Springfield crud. So I would have gone 6 out of 10 people riding a bus across the country.
Oh, that was a good one, too. Yeah.
6 out of 10 people who got hit by a bus, a Rapido bus going across the country.
Oh, jeez. Oh, man.